So I was just watching this thing where this guy was literally like, I don't know if it was a episodic thing coming up or what, but it was about this guy. Um, it looked like a movie, but he was talking about catching predators, and he says, "Well, I'm done messing with the small fry. I want the big guys." And I'm thinking, the big guys, well, good luck with that. They got a lot of power, a lot of money, and a lot of people that'll, you know, retaliate because they're kind of in the same loop. So if you catch one, you know, you're bound to catch more. So they're all gonna retaliate, right? But that's the thing about power, is that when you have it and other people have it, well, you don't chance just one person losing it. Look at Epstein. So it's one thing I found funny about this, is that this guy's talking about going after the big fish because America loves, this drama. Well, we do, because we like to believe that it's not real, but when we find out about it, it's like, well, it didn't happen to us. So that drama effect acts differently, especially if you didn't go through it yourself. It's not happening to you. You're hearing a story about it happening to somebody else, and it's like, oh wow. And I think about the difference between the people like me that can envision these scenarios without even hearing about it, and the people that have to learn from seeing, hearing, and reading and stuff like that. The people that can't just go inside their head and create new information. I'm thinking, what is the difference between these two people? Because people like me, we're not just pattern followers, we're pattern makers. So we're the ones that can flip people over on top of their head because they have no idea what we're going to do, because we don't just rely on history. We can come up with our own things, and it's pretty wild to think about. So, which is why I think we've been trying to make everybody so indistinguishable, is to try to block people out like me. People that can think for ourselves. We're the danger to everybody, to every system that ever existed. And then you had ADHD on top of that. Now you don't just have a pattern maker, you have a disaster, potential disaster, which is where surveillance helps, is because it helps to, if you had a superhero, right, and you're doing all this news coverage on this superhero that's going around saving all these people, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden they get caught up in this domestic abuse. Well, they're a superhero, right? They're supposed to be held to more responsibility. So what does that do to the people that let this superhero run around? So surveillance makes sure that the superhero doesn't get out of hand. And if they start seeing, patterns that this person is starting to go out of their loop, they're starting, their leash is kind of running long, they can say, hey, we saw what you did. We know what you're going to do next. Don't even think about it, or there's going to be these consequences, right? So you have to put a chain on that superhero. Now, I'm not saying we're superheroes. That's just an example. Basically, what I'm saying is that surveillance is a leash that, through pattern recognition, they can predict what we're more likely to do based on probability. So you stick something in this person's path that they're going to micro avoid, you can kind of figure out the probability of whether this person is in the mood to micro avoid, or are they going to just go straight through it. What are they going to do? Well, we tend to look at a lot of things even subconsciously, but so if you're not writing all this down, you're gonna basically be trying to remember and think of all these factors that are put into this probability, right? Because each little detail can change that probability a little bit or a lot. Their mood alone can determine whether they're more likely to micro avoid or not. But anyways, back on the original subject. So this guy is a predator catcher, and I'm thinking, well, it's funny because in life you have these guys that will be predator catchers, but guess what? They're only going after these predators for one, the money, two, because these predators are going after kids. And this person that I'm not saying this person that is doing the documentary or whatever the hell it is. I didn't even watch it all the way through. I just thought, oh boy. And when you go back to who this person actually is, these people, yes, they will go after kids, but a lot of times they're a predator themselves. Or another thing is that they'll seek the predators that are going after kids, but they'll be extreme woman beater, narcissistic, all these different things. Maybe even serial killer. You don't know. But basically, what they're doing is looking at their own evil as not evil, while looking at looking at it through the lens that America is also looking at through with them, is this lens of evil that whoever is tagged predator, whoever is tagged gay, whoever is tagged all these things, they're all evil, right? And maybe some of them are not overall, no, not overgeneralized, but through our own specific lens, because our perspective is how we see reality. Our mood, everything determines how we see reality. So if you hear about a war, like these days, we don't really, we still go by the labels, but not nearly as much. Imagine, in World War II, when everybody was over here in America talking about the Nazis, they're making them probably sound like these crazy, bustling, drug dealing maniacs, right? And then you got us over here in America, and we're nothing but farmers, and everything that was in the population with the Nazis, con artists and thieves and everything. Everything was in both cultures. But basically, what I'm trying to say is we set this stage up and say these people are evil, but we're not. Why are we not? Well, because we don't want to look at ourselves as evil, right? You go on a job now, and it's like it used to be, what's your criminal record? I've noticed now, or more and more now, is that they're saying, do you have a problem getting along with people? Do you have a problem getting along with people? And I kept thinking, well, why is it going from criminal record to being so concerned about getting along with people? Oh, right, because of inflation. Because I said 6 years ago even that this time was different, that it was not getting better. And everybody said, well, this stuff happens all the time, it's going to get better. And I said, no, not this time. I felt it. I felt it. I knew it. I knew there were too many people. I knew that, the value of money was really out of control. I just saw everything that was happening, not on a materialistic level, but on a psychological level. I thought, well, if I was at the top, what would I do? Well, that depends. Am I a good guy or a bad guy? Am I a selfish guy, an opportunistic guy, a systematic guy, problematic guy? I'm trying to think all these roles, and the one I'm not thinking of is the person that actually understands themselves. Because how would I know how a person that actually understands themselves is going to react when my brain is like 15 universes over from here? I'm at the bottom. I'm with the with the bottom feeders, the crackheads that don't care if everybody knows that they're crackheads. I live in a place where I hear a first name and I'm like, yeah, I was in jail with that person. Well, they're in jail right now, and it's like, well, is it this person? Yeah, okay, it's the person I thought. I just heard a first name, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I know that person. He's in jail. We were in jail. All by the first name. It's like, holy shit. But if you look in my town, it's a really, really nice town. They have nice fountains, nice everything, and but the jail is just revolving doors for the same people, usually for DUIs and drugs and stuff like that. It's like think of like a crop in a garden that keeps growing back every year. Only it's not every year. It's like every week, every month, every 6 months. These are the same people going back for not being able to afford their child support because their woman is going after everything because they don't want to work. So they get this other narcissistic guy to pay all their stuff while they're trying to get money from their ex. And it's like, holy hell. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is the best we came up with. Seriously, this is the best we came up with. We hit that some people have an imagination and some people don't. We hit a lot of things. And then we use that to overgeneralize because people do change, right? People do change. If people they change all the time, not unexpectedly. No, people try to predict how these people are going to go, and when it doesn't go the way they expect, it's when they're gone. It's when they're gone. You'll have these parents that think, well, we'll be good parents. But the thing is, if you're not a good parent in the beginning, you're probably not going to be a good parent in the end. Especially if both of you are bad parents, it's not likely to change. Because they're not seeing what they do as evil. They're seeing as what they're doing as justifiable compared to what other people justify. So we seek those people that justify to justify our own shit. And I guess that's just why we're all bottom feeders, right? Well, but you look at these people that are on these jobs around here for 30 years, man, tell me they're any happier than us. They'll be next on that Predator show.